Hey, today I'm actually pretty excited. I get to play one of these games that I really haven't played before. It's more of a narrative experience, a horror narrative experience inspired by H.P. Lovecraft. Um, you're going to face some unspeakable horrors, succumb into some madness, maybe. Um, and yeah, we're gonna take it from there and just see where we go. Oops. Alright, so I'm gonna start. Yes. Dagon, I don't know, it's Dagon or Dagoon, is a faithful interactive adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's work focused on a story and atmosphere. You will not find difficult choices, action sequence, or inventory management here, and movement is limited to progressing throughout locations along with the plot. Okay.
I am writing this under an appreciable mental strain, since by tonight I shall be no more.
During the game, you will encounter interactive elements. Some of them will allow you to continue your journey, others reveal interesting facts about the original short story, its historical background, and the author. Some of the trivia is hidden. In order to find these secrets, focus your eyes and look at the Elden Ring. Okay. Well, this is a interesting area. Oh, what is this? Oh boy. Lovecraft's letters. As to letters, my case in part peculiar. My case is peculiar. I write such things exactly as easily and as rapidly as I was utter the same topics in conversations. Indeed, I don't know how to say that word. Epistolary expression is with me largely replacing conversation. As my condition of nervous prostration becomes more and more acute, I cannot bear to talk much now, and am becoming as silent as the spectator himself. My loquacity extends itself on paper. I'm not the greatest pronouncer. H.P. Lovecraft to Reinhard Kleiner, December 23rd, 1917. Throughout his life, Lovecraft penned around 100,000 letters to his friends and fans, out of which about 10% survive to this day. But his tendency to endlessly correspondence was a relatively late growth. In youth, I scarcely did any letter writing. Thanking anybody for a present was so much of an ordeal that I would rather have written a 250-line pastoral or a 20-page treatise on the Ring of Saturn. Selected letters 1929, 1931, H.P. Lovecraft. Lovecraft would often skip meals to afford postage. Dang. Collections of his correspondence have been published in various books, and selected letters can be found online. Some readers consider them his most important legacy. You can read the discovered trivia immediately or go back to them later in the main menu. Turn off display trivia if you find that the features this can be changed anytime in the options. I'll just show it, I guess. Ow, my ears. It's raining. Or can't go any further right. See that? Okay.
Penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer, and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below.
Oh God.
Do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a weakling or a degenerate.
Slavery to morphine. It's kind of like the same thing, right? No, I mean, I don't mean it like that, but like you're just bound to it.
When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may guess, though never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death.
Okay. Morphine entered into use in the 19th century and was routinely administered to treat severe pain during the American Civil War and World War One. It was also sold without restrictions until 1914. Morphine became more popular after the invention of the hypodermic syringe around 1854. Frederick Sertner, who first isolated the substance, originally named it morphium after Morpheus, the Greek god associated with dreams. At the time when Dagon was published, morphine abuse, known as soldier's disease, already posed a big problem in the U.S. Okay. Is there anything else here I can look at? Those things were dangerous. I think back in the day, it, like, wasn't like this wallpaper very flammable the way they made it. That's why a lot of houses caught on fire, because there's something in the wallpaper. I don't know. Alright, let's move on.
It was in one of the most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific that the packet of which I was supercargo fell a victim to the German sea raider.
Supercargo. Oh. Oh god.
The Great War was then at its very beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation.
So I'm just out at sea. Oh. Uh-oh. Okay.
So that our vessel was made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
I really like the voice acting so far. It's really good. A lifeboat. The Huns were Central Asian nomads who established a dominion in Europe and invaded the Roman Empire in the 5th century AD. They were also known as brutal, deadly warriors and masters of quick raids who also developed powerful composite bows, lassos, and early siege weapons. During World War I, the British used the word Hun as a synonym for Germans. Oh. In order to emphasize their brutality. However, the term originated when the German Emperor Wilhelm II gave a speech to his troops on the 27th July 1900 before they embarked to China. Should you encounter the enemy, he will be defeated. No quarter will be given. Prisoners will not be taken. Whoever falls into your hands is forfeited. Just 1,000 years ago, the Huns, under their king Attila, made a name for themselves, one that even today makes them seem mighty in history and legend. May the name German be affirmed by you in such a way in China that no Chinese will ever again dare to look cross-eyed at a German. The refusal to take prisoners was a clear breach of the laws and customs of war adopted during the First Hague Convention of 1899. Okay.
So liberal, indeed, was the discipline of our captors, that 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape alone in a small boat with water and provisions for a good length of time.
It's kind of beautiful out here, not gonna lie. Oh, did I jump into the water?
When I finally found myself adrift and free, I had but little idea of my surroundings.
Yeah, I don't either. Where the heck am I? Guess I got some fire. Where am I?
Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator.
Wait, what? Never competent. I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars. I was somewhat south of the equator. Sun, stars, and he's south of the equator. Okay.
Of the longitude, I knew nothing, and no island or coastline was in sight.
Nope. This would be freaking terrifying, I ain't gonna lie. Side on a paddle boat. Alright.
The weather kept fair, and for uncounted days I drifted aimlessly beneath the scorching sun, waiting either for some passing ship or to be cast on the shores of some habitable land.
Man, you'd feel so defeated at this point. But man, it's kind of beautiful.
But neither ship nor land appeared, and I began to despair in my solitude upon the heaving vastness of unbroken blue. The change happened whilst I slept. Its details I shall never know, for my slumber, though troubled and dream-infested, was continuous.
What is going on now? The heck is that thing? Where am I? Oh, this has to be like a friggin' night terror. Something. That was my ship. That's an octopus. And that's a stuck octopus trying to get out. The water all went away.
When at last I awoke, it was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire, which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see, and in which my boat lay grounded some distance away. Though one might well imagine that my first sensation would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected a transformation of scenery, I was in reality more horrified than astonished.
Yeah, I would be too, man. What the heck?
For there was in the air, and in the rotting soil, a sinister quality which chilled me to the very core. The region was putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish, and of other, less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain.
Good lord.
Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and barren immensity.
Yeah, perhaps.
There was nothing within hearing, and nothing in sight, save a vast reach of black slime. Yet the very completeness of the stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear. The sun was blazing down from a sky which seemed to me almost black in its cloudless cruelty, as though reflecting the inky marsh beneath my feet.
Good. Imagine waking up to this. Holy. Ugh.
As I crawled into the stranded boat, I realized that only one theory could explain my position. Through some unprecedented volcanic upheaval, a portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface, exposing regions for which innumerable millions of years had lain hidden under unfathomable watery depths.
Some volcanic upheaval push thrown to the surface, exposing regions for which innumerable millions of... Huh? I guess.
So great was the extent of the new land which had risen beneath me that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might. Nor were there any seafowl to prey upon the dead things.
Okay. Am I taking shelter inside my boat? It's a dead thing. Is there anything else around here? How's a volcanic upheaval just gonna do this? Out of nowhere. It's like mountainous. Oh well. Hey, dead fish.
For several hours I sat thinking or brooding in the boat, which lay upon its side and afforded a slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens. As the day progressed, the ground lost some of its stickiness and seemed likely to dry sufficiently for traveling purposes in a short time. That night I slept but little, and the next day I made for myself a pack containing food and water, preparatory to an overland journey in search of the vanished sea and possible rescue.
Yeah. I don't think that's gonna happen.
On the third morning, I found the soil dry enough to walk upon with ease. The odor of the fish was maddening, but I was too much concerned with graver things to mind so slight an evil, and set out boldly for an unknown goal.
Alright, I guess we go. Unless there's something else. Alright, let's do it. Oh god.
All day I forged steadily westward, guided by a faraway hummock which rose higher than any other elevation on the rolling desert.
Kinda looks like a fossil. It is. What is that? Big arse crabs, man. Alien type crab. Ah! Hey, the limbo. Do the limbo. Just oh, that's a whale. Yep, that's a whale. Hello, whale. I know you're dead. Do the limbo.
That night I encamped, and on the following day still traveled toward the hummock.
Okay, so what's this? The horrors of the ocean. The creator of Cthulhu mythos and the fictional underwater city of you say it, was convinced that life could not exist at the bottom of the ocean because the water pressure would make it uninhabitable. Today we know that the darkest depths of the ocean are home to many peculiar organisms. The deepest dwelling fish we have discovered so far, the Mariana snailfish, can live about 8,000 meters, more than 26,000 feet, below the ocean's surface, in never-ending darkness and at hellish crushing pressures, hundreds of times stronger than those found at sea level. Upon glancing at the modern photos of deep-sea creatures, excuse me, such as the angelfish, the fangtooth, or the viperfish, and their truly Lovecraftian characteristics, it's hard not to find some irony in this. It is. Ow, Mayors again! If this was that below the sea, under the... Don't get copyrighted. Okay, we'll go to that.
By the fourth evening, I attained the base of the mound, which turned out to be much higher than it had appeared from a distance, an intervening valley setting it out in sharper relief from the general surface.
You see what I see? I go this way, those blue lights go away. I go this way, it looks like, I don't know what they are. 3 of them now. Interesting.
Too weary to ascend, I slept in the shadow of the hill.
Okay. We're going night-night.
I know not why my dreams were so wild that night, but ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon had risen far above the eastern plain, I was awake in a cold perspiration, determined to sleep no more. Such visions as I had experienced were too much for me to endure again. And in the glow of the moon I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day.
In the glow of the moon, I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day.
Without the glare of the parching sun, my journey would have cost me less energy.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Indeed, I now felt quite able to perform the ascent which had deterred me at sunset. Picking up my pack, I started for the crest of the eminence.
I'll pick this up, I'm assuming. Okay.
I have said that the unbroken monotony of the rolling plain was a source of vague horror to me. But I think my horror was greater when I gained the summit of the mound and looked down the other side into an immeasurable pit or canyon. Whose black recesses the moon had not yet soared high enough to illumine. I felt myself on the edge of the world, peering over the rim into a fathomless chaos of eternal night.
Yeah.
Through my terror ran curious reminiscences of Paradise Lost, and of Satan's hideous climb through the unfashioned realms of darkness.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
As the moon climbed higher in the sky, I began to see that the slopes of the valley were not quite so perpendicular as I had imagined.
The moons of the valley were not perpendicular. I can't tell. That moon is glowing. Okay.
Ledges and outcroppings of rock afforded fairly easy footholds for a descent,
True.
whilst after a drop of only a few hundred feet, the declivity became very gradual.
Big words. Okay. Let's drop.
Urged on by an impulse which I cannot definitely analyze, I scrambled with difficulty down the rocks and stood on the gentler slope beneath.
Yeah, there's those shiny blue rocks again.
Gazing into the Stygian deeps, where no light had yet penetrated. All at once, my attention was captured by a vast and singular object on the opposite slope, which rose steeply about 100 yards ahead of me.
Yeah.
An object that gleamed whitely in the newly bestowed rays of the ascending moon.
Help! Just yell help, man. Portal.
That it was merely a gigantic piece of stone, I soon assured myself.
Surely.
But I was conscious of a distinct impression that its contour and position were not altogether the work of nature.
Definitely doesn't look like it.
A closer scrutiny filled me with sensations I cannot express.
This is really well made. I really like this. Even the ambiance.
For despite its enormous magnitude and its position in an abyss which had yawned at the bottom of the sea since the world was young, I perceived beyond a doubt that the strange object was a well-shaped monolith,
A monolith?
whose massive bulk had known the workmanship and perhaps the worship of living and thinking creatures.
So life under the sea before the sea was the sea? Before the ocean was the ocean? Is that what we're getting at?
Dazed and frightened, yet not without a certain thrill of the scientist's or archaeologist's delight, I examined my surroundings more closely.
Mm-hmm. I want more blue rocks. Okay.
The moon, now near the zenith, shone weirdly and vividly above the towering steeps that hemmed in the chasm.
I don't know what the zenith is, but they shone weirdly and vividly. There's like skulls, faces, and water. A little bit.
And revealed the fact that a far-flung body of water flowed at the bottom, winding out of sight in both directions and almost lapping my feet as I stood on the slope. Across the chasm, the wavelets washed the base of the Cyclopean monolith, on whose surface I could now trace both inscriptions and crude sculptures.
Yeah. Where am I? Looks like the moon's kind of getting more crescent.
The writing was in a system of hieroglyphics unknown to me and unlike anything I'd ever seen in books, consisting for the most part of conventionalized aquatic symbols such as fishes, eels, octopi, crustaceans, mollusks, whales, and the like. Several characters obviously represented marine things which are unknown to the modern world.
Shark. Jaws. I see Jaws.
But whose decomposing forms I had observed on the ocean-risen plain. It was the pictorial carving, however, that did most to hold me spellbound.
Dagon contains many themes and storytelling methods that Lovecraft developed in his later works, such as telling the story through carvings, At the Mountain of Madness, The Nameless City, journals and characters' notes, The Shadow Out of Time, The Hunter of the Dark, Islands Emerging from the Ocean, The Call of Cthulhu, or fictional beings and deities based on real events and mythologies, Migo and the Whispers of In Darkness. It's also considered the origin of the popular Cthulhu mythos. Some of Lovecraft's other stories are concluded in a manner similar to Dagon, but let's skip the details in order not to spoil the ending. Alright, that sounds good. I think I am going to stop part 1 right now. I'm just getting into it, obviously. I've been doing this for about 30 minutes. I don't know how much longer this game is going to be, but so far, like, the ambiance, the voice acting has been amazing. I'm excited to see where the story goes, because right now we're just under the impression that a volcanic uprising brought us this world we're in right now, I guess you could say, where we found a monolith with these engravings of fish and other things, nefarious things even. And I guess we're just gonna find out what all that means in part 2. If you guys would like a part 2, just hit like and hit subscribe. Hit the bell if you want to. You don't got to. I know that can be annoying at times, but yeah, I'm gonna end it here, and I will make a part 2 of this. Thanks for watching. I know it's a lot of reading. It's like a story based, kind of similar to like a podcast visually, with my tiny little inputs every once in a while. You know, you got to have a little input every here and there. Alright, enough of that jibber jabber. Alright, I will see you in part 2. Alright, have a good one, and always remember, I don't know. Keep going, baby.